everyone, it's Cindy from Goldie's Girl Gifts. We're going to make this cute little hat today. Okay, the supplies you're going to need today are, 5 different colors of your choice. I'm using red. It's a 4-weight acrylic yarn. I'm using red, this color blue for the main body of the hat. This silverish color is going to be for the speckles and the beard of the gnome. Just a basic 4-weight acrylic white yarn. And then the green is going to be for the smaller green portion in the hat. You'll need some scissors and a darning needle. And once you're on your 46 or 48 pin Addi knitting machine. Today we're going to be making it on the 46 pin. So once you gather everything up, and we'll get going. Okay, so to cast on, I start with my first black pin. I'm going to hook the yarn under the first black pin and start to crank a little bit until that pin gets drawn down a little bit, and it'll hold the yarn for me. And I'm going to drop my tail end. Now with my working yarn, I went in front of the first pin, so I'm going to go behind the second, in front of the third, behind the fourth, in front of the fifth, and so forth and so on, weaving in and out of each pin, in front and behind, all the way around. And I'm not holding tight tension, I'm just letting the yarn glide through my fingers. I'm just going to go all the way around, weaving in and out until I reach that first black pin again. Okay, so we came up across the first black pin. Here is the last white pin. I want to make sure that my yarn ends up behind that last white pin. And if it doesn't, if for some reason on your weaving you end up in front of that last white pin, then you've done something wrong and you should restart over. You should always end up behind your last white pin. And then at this point I would go ahead and reset your counter. And you've done your cast on. So now what we need to do is, with our main color, we just need to go through and work 13 rounds in the main color. So we're just going to straighten it 13 rounds. And with these patterns, sorry, I'm pulling from the skein, so I need to keep getting slack. With these patterns, you're going to make sure that your counter is going to read the number that you want to be on. So we're going to do 13 full rows of the solid color. So our counter will need to show 14 before we start the pattern. That way we'll always coincide with the rows on our pattern, because you're going to go through and completely do all 13 rows. Now again, this is my old and trusty Addi, so you will hear some grunts and groans from time to time. But it's my workhorse, and I know nothing's broken or wrong with it. It's just tired. So I like to be cranky every now and then. No pun intended. Okay, so this is row 12. Our counter now says row 13, but we're going to complete the 13th row. And our counter will now read 14. This is where we start our pattern. Okay. So on row 14, which is the beginning row of our pattern, the instructions say to work pins 1 through 10 in the main color. So we still have our main color on the machine. Here's pin 1. So we're going to knit 10 stitches with the main color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're going to start our first color change. So we're going to cut our working yarn and drop it down into the center of our machine and grab our new color. So our first color change is pins 11 through 15 in the color red. So I'm going to put my yarn, my new color red, in the yarn feeder and close it. I'm going to hook it under pin 11 because that's the first pin that I want to knit with the color change. Crank it down a little bit till it catches the yarn. And now I tie a double knot to secure my color change. Now I have a few easier patterns, more beginner friendly, which is a heart pattern. This one I'm going to go a little bit faster. I'm not going to be as detailed. So if you need any kind of a refresher, I would go back and watch the heart pattern, which kind of really takes it slow, step by step. But I'm still going to walk you through every pin, every color change throughout the entire pattern. So you'll be able to complete the hat. It's just going to be a little faster. So now we're going to work pin 11 through 15. So 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Cut our yarn. Go back to our main color for pin 16 through 46. So again, I put my yarn in the yarn feeder, hook it under pin 16, grab my existing color, crank it down, and tie a double knot. So if you're doing it on the Addi, you would work pins 16 through 46. And if you're working this on a Sentro 48, you would work pins 16 through 48 to complete the row 14. Okay, so now row 15. Since we already have our main color in the yarn feeder, we continue and we do the first 1 through 9 in the main color. So in row 15, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cut our yarn. We're switching to red yarn for pins 10 and 11. Yarn feeder underneath pin 10. Tie your double knots. 10 and 11. And now pin 12 is in the white. So we go into the yarn feeder, under pin 12, tie our knot. That's only a 1 pin change. So now we cut the white. We are going back to the red for pins 13 through 17. Crank it down, secure your yarn, and tie your double knot. Now 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And now our last color change for this row is to cut the red, go back to our main color under pin 18. Crank it down to secure it. And then to finish row 15, you're going to work either 18 to 46 or 18 to 48, depending on which machine you're doing. Row 16, work pins 1 through 8 in the main color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cut the yarn. We're going to go back to red for pins 9 to 11. Under the pin, crank it down and secure it with your double knots. So 9, 10, 11. Cut the red yarn, go back to the white. Sorry, I didn't do the center pull on this one. Here we go, I got it. Pin 12, we're going to do, it's a 1 pin change again of just white. So we go under pin 12. We're going to cut the yarn. Pins 13 through 18 is then back into the red. Crank it down. And do 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. We cut the red, go back to our main color. For pins 19 through 46 or 19 through 48 if you're working on the Sentro. Now this, I find that my machine seems to crank and be a little more creaky on the, I love this yarn. But, and you don't really need as many rows on the I love this yarn. But it's really up to you what size you want to make your full hat. Okay, so for row 17, we're going to do pins 1 through 7. So we continue with our main color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cut the yarn, go back to red for pins 8 and 9. 8 and 9. Secure my knot with a double knot. making sure it goes under this red lip. We're going to cut the red and do a 1-pin change for pin number 10 in the white. So again, it's just a 1-pin change is just like any other color change. You cut your yarn that you're changing from. You add your yarn into the yarn feeder that you're changing to. Go under the pin that you're wanting to knit. Grab your old yarn, crank it down, let it catch, and then secure your double knot. So now we cut the yarn because we're going to finish. It's only the 1 pin. It's already been knit. Now we're going back to pin 11 through 13 in red. So now we add in our new color again. Grab our old yarn, which is still on pin 10. And now we do the double knot. And we work that 1-pin change has been secured. It's not going anywhere. We didn't drop any stitches, so we're good. 11, 12, and 13 in the red. Now we do another 1-pin change for pin number 14 in white. And we secure our yarn with a double knot. Cut our white, and we go 15 through 17 in the red. Secure our knots, 17. And now we cut our red yarn, go back to the white for pins 18 and 19. 18 and 19 in white. Cut our yarn, go back to the main color. Put it under pin 20, crank it down. Secure our knot, and now we finish row 17 with pins 20 through 46 or 20 through 48, depending on which machine. Row 18, we're going to continue 1 through 7 in the main color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 through 10 in red. So we cut the yarn. Add in the red under pin 8. Secure the knot. 8, 9, and 10. Cut the red. We're doing a 1-pin change of white under pin 11. Secure the yarn. Now we're doing another 1-pin under pin number 12 was red. So we go under pin 12, grab the yarn that we cut from pin 11, crank it down and secure that yarn. We're going to cut pin 12, drop down our red yarn. Pin number 13 is white. So we're adding the white in, grabbing our yarn from the, get that hair out of there. Crank it down to secure it and tie our double knots. Now we did 3 1-pin color changes in a row. Everything is secure on each side and there's no color changes. I think they're a little bit more intimidating, but really they're just the same as every other. You just have to get used to, you know, making sure your knots are secured, making sure they're under this red ledge here, and you should be okay with without dropping stitches. So pins 14 through 16, we're going to crank down, secure the yarn, and tie a double knot. So 14, 15, and 16. Cut our yarn. Pin number 17 is our main color. So go under 17, crank it down and secure it, tie our double knot. Cut number 17, pin 18 and 19 is in white. So I go under pin 18, grab my blue yarn, my main yarn, crank it down and secure the knots. So pin 18 and 19 is white. And here's the final color change of this row, which is row 18. We cut the white. We're going back to our main color. for pins 20 through 46 or 20 through 48 if you're using the Sentro. Okay, row 19. We continue 1 through 6 in our main color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cut our yarn. Go to pin number 7 in red. Secure your knot, making sure that goes under that hood or that ledge there. So that was 7 in red. We're going to change now and do pins 8 and 9 in white. Go under that lip there, grab your red, crank it down, and tie your knot. 8 and 9. Cut our white, go back to red for 10 and pins 10 and 11. The more you do of these, the easier they get. It's just, they do take a lot of practice. So pins 10 and 11 is in the red. We're going to cut the red and we're going to go back to white for pin number 12. Grab our red yarn. Now I know it gets confusing which yarn to grab when you have all these ends here. It's like, oh no, which piece is my active piece? And I can show you a tip on doing that. So pin number 12 we just did in white. Pin 13 and 14 is in red. So we cut our white yarn and we just drop it down. Go back to the red for pin 13 and 14. So I'm loading my red yarn under pin 13. Now I'm saying, okay, which white yarn is it? I'm not really sure. Now there's a couple things you can do. You can pull the yarn this way. Instead of dropping it down to the center, you can pull it back and then grab it each time. I find that's one more step. It becomes a little, slower process. So I just kind of automatically just drop it down in the middle. But what I normally check is if you look at these two teeth here, it's always going to be hanging in the middle of those two teeth that stick out. So if I was to pick up this white one, that's secured over here, tied to this one. And this white over here is, whoops, if I can grab it, is secured over here. So it's always going to be the white or whatever color you're using that falls in between those teeth there. So that's just an easy way for me to gauge which string I need to grab. But you have to figure out whatever system works best for you and however, you can keep organized. So pins 13 and 14 are the red. We're going to cut that again, drop it down, and pins 15 and 16 are in the white. Whoops. Going to grab from the middle tail. Again, in the yarn feeder under the pin. And as you can see, the red that I needed is just sticking out between those teeth. Crank it down and I tie my knot. So pin 15 and 16 is in white. Now pins 17 through 46 are back in our main color. So we load our main color under pin 46. And we secure our knot. And now to finish row 19, we work pin 17 to 46 or 17 to 48 if you're using a Sentro. Now again, I'm not using really tight tension when I finish off my rows or even when I'm tying the knots. I'm just kind of letting the yarn glide through my hand. A lot of people say that the Addis are tight on the adult head, but if you're using light enough tension, you should have no problem them fitting an adult size head properly without being really tight. And you have to keep in mind that these hats, they are kind of like a new pair of jeans. They do stretch, so don't be afraid to stretch them out. It does take a little bit of time to wear them in, and the yarn will kind of, get that little bit of stretch, and they will end up fitting nicely if they are, a little bit snug. Okay, so for row 20, we do 1 through 6 in the main color, so we're going to just continue on with the main. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. pins 7 through 10 is going to be in the red. So I grab my 2 yarns and secure it. Now, you don't have to use the colors that I'm using. You can just kind of I know that the red I'm using for the hat, so I have it all pre-planned. The white is for the beard. The green is for, the base of the gnome. So you can just change, plan out your yarns ahead of time. And you do work these hats from the top down. So you can kind of gauge where your colors need to go. So again, I'm working pins 7, 8, 9, and 10 in red. I'm going to cut that. Pin 11 is in white. So I go ahead and secure that. Cut my white. Pin 12 is in red. Going to put my red under that pin. Secure that knot. And then pin 13 is in white. So again, we have 3 single color changes. Nothing to get intimidated by. We drop our red, pick up our white in 13, or for pin 13, and we secure that down. And now, next color change is pins 14 through 16 in red. Under 14. And tie my knots. 14, 15, and 16. And then we cut the yarn, grab our main yarn, and we're going to work pin 17. Secure my knot. 17 through 46 or 17 through 48 if you're working on the Sentro, and that completes row 20. So our counter should be reading row 21. All right, for row 21, pins 1 through 5 are in the main color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we continue with the main color. Cut that. Pins 6 through 9 are in the red. So we put the red in our yarn feeder under that hook and secure the knots. 6, 7, 8, and 9. Cut the yarn. Pin number 10 is in the white. Secure that. Pins 11 through 13 are in the red. So we cut the white yarn, make the color change, secure our knot. 11, 12, 13. Cut the red. Pin number 14 is in white. We secure our yarn, tying the knots. Pins 15 through 17 are in the red, so we cut the white, add in the red. 15. Sorry, I'm trying to go slower. Usually I can do a couple stitches before I tie, but I'm trying to do it at a beginning level, and sometimes it's just difficult. I go ahead of myself. So 15, 16, and 17 are in the red. We cut the red, and now pins 18 through 46 or 18 through 48 are in your main color, and we work those stitches to finish row 21. Okay. Row 22 is pins 1 through 5 in the main, so we continue on. 2, 3, 4, 5. Cut that yarn. 6 to 11 in the red. I will say that when you get to the beard portion of this, there's going to be a lot more single color changes. If you can do 1, you can do 10. It doesn't really matter. They're all done the same. So don't let that intimidate you. It becomes a little more tedious because there's more color changes, but there's only a small section, so you'll get through it pretty quickly. So pin 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 in the red. Cut our yarn. Pin number 12 is in the white. So again, I am doing this one a little bit quicker than I usually do some of the other ones. My more beginner level. When you get into the more colors that you change, the level of difficulty increases a little bit. But if you've done a few of these patterns, you can, as long as you have the technique down of how to do the color changes, you can do, whether it's the hat has 1 color or 20 colors, it's all the same. You're doing it all the same, and it's just practicing to get your tension right. Sadly, that's not something I can teach. But if you're new to the machine, I would just play around with it and, do 10, 20 rows of a yarn, not working on a project, so you can kind of get a feel for the tension and how it knits and what tension or grip you need. You can get those tensioners. I always hand tension. It's really just kind of trial and error to see what works best for you. Okay, so we're going pins 13 through 18 in the red. So I cut the white on pin 12, added the red on pin 13. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And my pins are numbered, so that's how I know what pin I'm on. Now we cut the red. I just use magic marker to color in that embossed number that's already on your machine. But you can use stickers, you can use, a marker, a white marker, whatever, however it's easiest for you. So pins 19 through 46 or 19 through 48, we complete row 22. And now row 23 is pins 1 through 4 in the main. Cut that yarn. We're switching to the red for pins 5 to 11. Secure my knots. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Pin 12. Cut the red. Pin 12 is in white. And we tie our knot. Next color change is pins 13 through 19 in red. Grab our white yarn and secure that. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 in red. Cut our yarn, switch back to our main yarn on pin 20. Tie our knots. And now we're going to work pins 20 to 46 or 20 to 48. Sorry about the cranking, my machine. And that finishes row 23. So row 24, we're going to do pins 1 through 4. So we continue on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Continue on with our main color. We are going to cut that main color. And now we're switching to red for pins 5 through 19. Crank that down. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Cut our yarn. Go back to our main yarn for pin 20. Secure that down. And work pins 20 through 46 or 20 through 48 to finish out row 24. Okay, for row 25, I just noticed that we do need a little bit of a cream yarn. It's for the nose, and I did not put that in my beginning portion of the video. It tends to be something I leave out all the time, at least one color. So I apologize for that. So you will need a small amount of a beige yarn or like a flesh color. I just put a cream color, but you can use any color that you'd like for the nose color. Okay, so for row 25, pins 1 through 3, 1, 2, and 3 in the main color. We will cut that yarn, go to red for pins 4 through 9. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Cut the red, go to our beige or cream color yarn for pins 10 through 14. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Cut that yarn, go back to red for pins 15 through 20. Secure that yarn. 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Cut that yarn and work pins 21 to 46 or 21 to 48 to finish up row 25. Okay. Row 26, pins 1 through 3, so we continue on 1, 2, and 3 in the main color. Pins 4 through 8, we're going to switch to the red. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to cut that yarn and switch from 9 to pins 9 through 15 in our beige or cream color. So secure that. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We're going to cut that and we're going to work pins 16 through 20 in the red. Secure that yarn. 17, 18, 19, and 20. And now we switch back to the main color. Secure that and we'll work pins 21 through 46 or 21 through 48 to finish row 26. Okay, row 27. 1, 2, 3 in the main color. Cut the yarn, go back to red for pins 4 through 6. So secure that down. 4, 5, 6. Pin 7 and 8 is in white. So we switch pin 7 in white. 7, 8. We cut the white. And now we're going to work pins 9 through 15 in the beige. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Cut the beige, bring in the white under pin 16. And we work pin 16 and 17 in the white. Then we switch to pins 18 in the red and work pin 18, 19, and 20 in red. Cut the red, go back to our main color. Just dropped my phone case, but that's okay. And now we tie that off and we're going to work pins 21 through 46 or 21 through 48 depending on your machine. And that finishes row 27. Okay, so now this row we're going to have some main color, red, white, silver, beige. It's going to be a lot of color changes in this one, but we'll get through it. Okay, here we go. Pins 1 through 3 in the main color. 1, 2, 3. Don't get intimidated. I promise you it's not that bad. So we cut the yarn on 3. Pin 4 and 5 is in red. So we'll secure it down under pin 4, and 5 is red. Cut the red. We move on to 6 and 7 in white. 6, tie my knot, and 7 in white. Now we're introducing the silver color. That is I love this yarn. I don't know the color off the top of my head, but I can look it up and reference it in the description. It just has a very cool kind of, I don't know, speckled appearance. And it looks nice as a silver, it adds a little bit of detail to the hat. Okay, so pin number 18 is in the silver. Then we switch to white for pin 9. And we cut the white and switch to pin 10 for the beige. And work 10 through 14 with the beige. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Cut the beige again. Okay, so 10 through 14 was the beige. 15 is pin 15 is white. We cut the white, and now we switch and bring in the silver for pin number 16. Tie that down. Pin 17 and 18 is back into the white, so we bring the white back in. Secure that. 17 and 18 in white. Cut the yarn. Bring in red for pins 19 and 20. Secure that, 19 and 20. Cut the red, bring in our main color under pin 21, and we work pins 21 through 46 or 21 through 48. That finishes row 28. So 29, pins 1 and 2 are the main color. Cut the main color. Bring in our red. 3, 4, and 5 is in red. We'll cut the red. Bring in our white for pin number 6. Secure that. And then pin number 7 is in silver. I'm going to cut the silver. And then pins 8 and 9 are in the white. So we're just adding in that little bit of glimmer with the silver hints here and there. So 8 and 9 are in white. Pin number 10. Whoops, sorry, I'm pulling from the wrong place in the silver. Getting a little tangled here. Okay, pin number 10 is the silver. Cut the silver. And work 11, pins 11 through 13 in the white. Getting ahead of myself, cutting before. Okay, we cut the white, go back to the silver on pin number 14. And secure that. Cut the silver, go back to the white for pins 15 and 16. I mean, these one pin color changes seem like they're a pain, and I understand, but it does bring a lot of detail and depth to your finished product. So it doesn't look like just a pixelated flat kind of image. It gives it more detail. But it's really up to you if you want to make it as detailed or vibrant. If you didn't want to do the silver part because it's too difficult, or you want to skip that and just kind of make it a little bit easier, fewer color changes, you could just continue with the white in the place of wherever it says silver. Okay, so 17 is silver. We switch back to 18 for the white. And then we cut the white, and we're going to work pins 19 through 21 in the red. Secure that down. And then we're going to cut the red, go back to our main color, and we're pins 22 through 46 or 22 through 48. Okay. So row 30, 1 and 2 in the main. Change to the red for pins, whoops. Change to red for pins 3 and 4. I have my yarn laid out next to me, and sometimes I grab the wrong end. Okay, so we cut the red, go back to the white for pins 5 and 6. Cut the white and change to the silver color. Oop. For pin 7. One thing I do want to point out, because I almost just did it myself, but just to kind of give you a little heads up, you need to make sure that your yarn is coming through this end gap here and is secure in your knitting, your yarn guide. Because if for some reason, if it's you know, you cut here, you go in fast and you just kind of close it and it comes out off the edge, you will almost guarantee to drop a stitch because it's not going to feed under here correctly. So if you can always make sure that your yarn is properly seated in the yarn feeder, and it's when you tie your knots, it's under this red hump there, you're less likely to have any drop stitches. Okay, so we cut the yarn on number 7. Number 8 is in white. I'm sorry, I should be saying pin number 8. So I tie that down. Cut the white, go back to silver for pin number 9. I'm going to cut the silver, go back to white. For pins 10 and 11. Cut the white, go back to silver for pin 12. Cut the silver, go back to white for pins 13 and 14. Cut the white, go back to silver. Sound like a broken record, I'm sorry. For pin number 15. Cut the silver, go back to white for pin number 16. And then we're going to cut the white, go back to silver for pin 17. Phew! Cut the silver, Go back to white for pins 18 and 19. And we're going to cut the white, go to red for pins 20 and 21. And then pin 22, we're going to change back to our main color. And finish the row. So we're going to work pin 22 through 46 or 22 through 48. And that finishes row 30. All right, so row 31, pins 1 and 2 in the main. And we switch to pin 3 will be in red. And we secure the yarn. Pins 4 and 5 will be in white. And we cut the yarn. Pin 6 is in the silver. And then 7 and 8 will be in the white. And we secure that yarn down. Pin 9 is in the silver. Pin 10 is in the white. So there's a lot of single color changes on this row. But we're halfway through it. So 10 is in white. Pin 11 is back to the silver. Pin 12 is in white. Pin 13 is in the silver. Pin 14 is in the white. Almost there. Pin 15 is in the silver. And we got pin 16 and 17 in white. Pin 18 in silver. 16, so 18 in silver, okay. And then 19 and 20 in white. We're almost through this row. Pin 21 is in red. And then we're going to switch, cut the red, go back to our main color. And we're going to work pins 22 through 46 or 22 through 48 in the main color. Okay, so we have some more color changes in this row. It's not as many as the last one, so we're getting down to where we're going to probably switch to more of the green. I think we're introducing it in this row. Okay, so for row 32, we're going to do pins 1 and 2 in the main. Yep, here we go with the green. Let me just pull it from the right end. And you can use any, like I said, any colors. I'm kind of using Christmas colors, but you can do them really in any color. Pin number 3 is in green. Pin 4 and 5 is in white. Pin 6 is in silver. Pin 7 in white. Now I don't pre-cut my strips. I cut them from the skein as I use them, just kind of help preventing waste. So pin 7 in white, pin 8 in silver. And then with all the ends of these strands at the end, if you save them, you can use them for stuffing. Pin number 9 is in white. I've made a dog bed out of them. I made pillows. Pin 10 is in silver. But it beats just throwing it all away. And then switched 11 to 13 is in white. Pin 14 is in silver. Pin 15 is in white. Pin 16 is in silver. Sorry about the noise in the background. Pin 17 is in white. Pin 18 is in silver. Pin 19 and 20 are in white. Pin 21 is in green. And then we're going to switch from the green back to our main color. And we're going to work pins 22 through 46 or 22 through 48. And that will finish row 32. Okay, so row 33. 1 and 2 is in main. We got a few more rows with these. Lots of color changes, but we're getting there, I promise. Almost there. Pin 3 is in green. Pin 4 and 5 is in white. Pin 6 is in silver. Pin 7 is in white. Pin 8 is in silver. This guy's beard's going to be glistening with all the silver. It's okay. Like I said, it's well worth it. It adds the detail. Pin 9 is white. Pin 10 is silver. Pin 11 is white. Pin 12 is silver. Whoops. Pin 13 is white. This is my original Addi. I've been using it going on, this is either the 3rd or the 4th year. I can't remember. I always get confused. So that was 13 in white, 14 in silver. I just know how this machine works. I know what it feels like when it drops a stitch. I know all the sounds and everything, so it's hard to, I have 2 more in the closet, but it's really hard to want to switch over. But I'm just worried one of these times it's just going to give out in the middle of a project. And when you make projects like this, pin 15 is in white. I'm sorry, I'm just going to recap in case I skipped. Pin 11 was white. Pin 12 is silver. Pin 13 is white. Pin 14 is silver. Pin 15 is white. In case I was talking, sorry. Okay, pin 15 is white. Pin 16 is silver. Pin 17 is white. Pin 18 is silver. Yeah, I just hope it doesn't stop working on me one of these times mid-project. Pins 19 and 20 are in white. Pin 21 is in the green. And then we're going to switch back to our main color and mark pins 22 through 46 or 22 through 48 to finish row 33. Getting cranky. Okay, so for row 34, pin 1 and 2 is the main color. Pin 3 and 4, we go to the green. Pin 5 in silver. Pin 6 and 7 will be in the white. Pin 8 is in the silver. Pin 9 and 10 is in the white. Pin 11 is in the silver. It's been a while since I've made one of these and I forgot how many color changes are in here. 12 is in the white. It's a great one to practice on. I will list this probably more of an intermediate. 13 in the silver. $14 and $15 in the white. $16 in the silver. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump the camera. 17 and 18 in the white. We're getting there, we're getting there. $19 in silver. $20 and $21 in the green. And then we're going to cut the green, switch back to our main color. And now we're going to work pins 22 through 46 or 22 through 48 to finish row 34. Okay, we have like 5 or 6 rows left. All right, they're getting shorter. Row 35 is pin 1 and 2 in the main. Pins 3 and 4 in the green. Five and 6 in the white. Pin number 7 in the silver. Eight and 9 in the white. Pin 10 in the silver. I love the silver color, I really do. Pins 11 to 13 in white. Pin 14 in the silver. Pins 15 and 16 in the white. There we go. Pin 17 in the silver. Pins 18 and 19 in the white. And then pins 20 and 21 in the green. And then now we're going to switch back to our main color for pins 22. And secure that down. And now we're going to work pins 22 through 46 or 48 to finish row 35. Okay, row 36, 1 and 2 in the main, 3 to 5 in the green, 3, 4, and 5, pin number 6 in the white, okay, we got quite a few single colors, but we'll get it. Pin number 7 in the silver. Pin 8 in the white. Pin 9 in silver. Pins 10 and 11 in white. Pin 12 in silver. Thirteen and 14 in the white. $15 in the silver. Almost there, I promise. 16, pin 16 in the white, pin 17 in the silver, pin 18 in the white, okay, and then we switch to pin 19 with the green and secure that down, and we're going to work pins 19 through 21. So 19, 20, 21 in green. We switch to our main color for pin number 22, and we secure that. And now we work pins 22 through 46 or 22 through 48, and that finishes row 36. Okay, we're in the home stretch now. Row 37, pin 1 and 2 in the main color. Switch to the green, and we have pins 3 through 6. So 3, 4, 5, 6. Switch to white, and we're going to work pins 7 through 10. So 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 in the silver, secure that down, pin 12 in the white, pin 13 in the silver, I believe the color is called Silver Mist in the I Love This Yarn, now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, that was pin 13 is silver. Go back to the white for pins 14 through 17. It's been a while since I purchased it, so... Okay, so 14 through 17 is white, and then pin 18 we go to the green. And we'll work pins 18 through 21, 19, 20, 21 in the green. Cut that. We're going to switch to our main yarn on pin 22. And we'll work 22 through 46 or 22 through 48 to finish row 37. Okay, row 38. Pin 1 and 2 is the main color. Switch over to the green for pin 3 and secure that down, and we work pins 3 through 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the green. Switch over to the white on pin number 8, and then mark pins 8, 9, 10, and 11 in the white. Pin number 12 is in the silver. And then pin 13, we're going to switch over to the white. And mark pins 13, 14, 15, and 16 in white. On pin 17, we're going to switch to the green. And work pins 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 in the green. Then we're going to switch over to our main color on on pin 22. Fasten that off, and then work 22 through 46 or 22 through 48 to finish row 38. 2 more rows and we're done with the pattern. Okay, so row 39, pins 1 and 2 in the blue, or the main color. On pin number 3, you're going to switch to the green. Secure that down. We're going to work pins 3 through 9. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Switch to the white for pin number 10. Then we're going to switch to the silver for pin number 11. We're going to switch back to the white for pin number 12. Switch to the switch to the 13. Switch to the silver, excuse me, for pin number 13. Switch to the white for pin number 14. Switch to green on pin number 15. And then work pins 15 through 21 in the green. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 in the green. We are going to switch to the main color on pin 22. Tie that off, and now we will work pins 22 through 46 or 22 through 48 to finish row 39. And then the last row of the pattern is row 40. So work pins 1 through 4 in the main color. We're going to switch to the green for pin number 5. And work 5 through 19 in the green. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Switch over to our main color for pin number 20. And work pins 20 through 46 or 20 through 48 to finish row 40. So now that we're done with the pattern part of it, we're just going to crank out the rest of our hat in the main color. So we're left on row 41. So I'm going to work row 41 to however many rows you want. I typically make my adult hats anywhere from 135 to 140 rows. With the I Love This yarn, I might do more like 135. So I'm going to go ahead and I know this particular hat I'm going to use for a male, so I'm going to go to the 140 to give it a little bit extra size. And I will probably fast forward through some of this so you don't have to watch a lot of this. And I'm just going to crank out until I reach 140 rows or whatever my desired number of rows is for the size hat that I want to make. And then I'll meet you back here and we can cast off the machine. Okay, we're coming up to the last row. And now I'm going to cast off. So I'm going to leave a good amount, maybe 12 to 18 inches of yarn, of a tail. Take the yarn out of my yarn feeder. And I'm just going to crank around once. Now again, this is how I cast off, but you don't have to cast off this way. I'm not going to go over, I'm going to stop just short of this being in front of the yarn feeder. Because if I went beyond that, it would start falling off the pegs. So I just go prior to 1 or 2 pins before. And I'm going to thread my tail, and I'm just going to thread each stitch off of the machine onto my tail of yarn here. So it's a little bit long, but that's okay. So as I'm taking each stitch off, I'm holding the stitch in front with my hand. So each stitch I go to, I increase to the next one and I hold that one down. Just so I don't pull it off and lose any stitches or anything. And then I just increase around until I get all of the stitches off the machine. Now, if you're a beginner, I would concentrate on 1 or 2 stitches at a time. If you're more advanced, you can do, 7 or 8 or however many you want to do at a time. The whole point is just not losing any of these stitches, because you've done a lot of work on this and you don't want to start dropping stitches now. It's really a pain to have to fix. So whatever method you use to cast off with, whether you go back around to the right, I'll see a lot of people do that. Whatever you feel more comfortable with, by all means, just cast off your machine 1 stitch at a time. It basically accomplishes the same thing. So we're just going to go around and get our the piece off the machine. And then we can deal with all of the yarn strands, which again is a tedious process, but it's well worth it for the end result. Okay, so I have all the stitches gathered. I'm going to move my machine. I Velcro mine down because I ran into bumping my legs on those bolts way too many times. This way I can sit more comfortably. And I just make sure that whatever surface I Velcro my machine down to, would help if you could see what I'm doing. Sorry. I put the soft side facing up, so whenever yarn projects I put on my table, it doesn't get caught by the Velcro. Okay. So I'm just going to give my hat a good stretch it all out. It's going to set the stitches. And then we can kind of take a peek at our design. This isn't the finished look yet because it's still kind of loose around the edges and jagged, but we'll clean that up. But this is what you did all the color changes to. You can see all the silver and how it adds like a glisten and detail to the beard. This is just like a snowflake design. It's kind of abstract. You can't really see it, but it is in the hat. And it just gives you a nice sewed look. But we're left with all of these ends. I'm turning my piece inside out. Now we have to contend with all of these. I just comb through, make sure there's no knots, and lay it flat. Now, we don't have to weave in all of these, which is really nice, but we do need to cut and tie them. Yes, they've already been tied into knots, but by doing the process that we're going to do now, it's just going to kind of makes everything look a little bit more crisp and defined, and it ensures that our piece is secure and that it'll last through basic wear and tear and washing of the item. So you're going to take each individual knot, you're going to hold the 2 strands, and you're just going to give it a little bit of a tug. You're not going to pull it fast, and you're not going to pull it really tight. You just, the whole purpose is basically just to make sure that the knot is tied and that you're not left with a lot of slack. Because when you do a lot of these with a lot of different color changes during the different rows, it all builds up under those red pegs. And sometimes it doesn't get down close enough to the base of the project, so you'll end up with some stitches that are a little bit looser than the other. So I just like to take the 5 or 10 minutes or however long this takes just to go through and tighten up those the strands, make sure all the knots are tightened. It helps to identify if you happen to miss tying something. You'll see a hole in the hat. It allows you to catch it and fix it before it starts unraveling. And it'll give it a really nice, crisp and finished look when we're done. So once you go through and I do section by section. I try not to like grab a big section so you have some from here and some from there and cut, because you're going to have all different lengths. So I try to do small sections that I've gone through and tied, and then I will cut them to about 1.5 inches length. And I will, forgot a little piece here on that section. So I will just go through and do all of them. And the more of these that you do, the faster you'll get. But the secret is not to pull quick or hard, because if they are really loose and you have some slack there and you pull too fast or too quickly, too fast or too hard, then it could pull the string on the front of your hat and distort your pattern. So you just want to give it a little tug, make sure it's secure. But you want to do it kind of slow. And I know it looks like I'm just pulling quick, but I'm really not. And then you just cut the section. So where this is a 2-layered hat, you won't see any of the ends that we're left with. And it doesn't add enough bulk between the 2 layers that you really feel them inside. But, I'm sure it adds a little bit more warmth, which is nice, because these hats are double layered and they're very warm. So that's a nice little bonus. But it's not like all bulky or anything. You don't really feel that. Okay. And this was the scrap I was talking about. If you cut these pieces smaller, they work as nice filling in pillows or dog beds or whatever. That helps to prevent a little bit of waste there as well. Where's the end to that one? But I just make sure that you're pulling, the 2 pieces from each knot before you pull. Because if you have one here and you want here and you pull and they're not going to the same knot, you're going to distort your view. The image. So I'm just going to just continue doing that throughout the entire hat until all your ends are tied and cut. And then I'll meet you back here. But again, this is a tedious part, but it's probably one of the most important parts of the hat. And maybe once we get to the end and I show you the front, you'll see the difference from what I showed you initially, where it looked a little bit jagged. But I'll see you back when we're done with this, with all tying the ends. Okay, so this is what you end up with when you go through all these ends, and this is what I'm going to save for additional stuffing and stuff for another dog bed or whatever it is. So now I'm going to turn the hat back inside out, or right side out now. And you can see that compared to when we first took it off the machine, it's a little more condensed. It doesn't have as many jagged edges. It kind of looks a little bit crisper and cleaner. And you can see that the edges are all nice and clean. There's not a lot of jagged edges, and it just looks finished. It gives it a nice finished, crisp, professional look. Okay, so now we're going to finish the hat. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, and we're just going to fold one end into the other. So I'm just folding it inside the other, making the 2 layers. I'll show you again. Here's the long tube that we have. And I'm just going to reach in, grab the bottom of the tube and the end, and I'm going to pull it up inside the other. And I'm just going to straighten it all out. It's a little bunched up in the middle. So now I have my 2 open ends of the hat on one side. And then this becomes like a finished edge on this side. So now I'm going to take the tail from the inside layer, and I'm just going to gather it and cinch it together. Don't pull it too tight, because if this snaps, your whole project will unravel, and it becomes a big headache to deal with. So now I do the same thing. I take the end of the tail end for the outside layer. I just want to make sure it doesn't get all gathered up, and when I'm cinching it, that it you know, folds in nicely. So I'm going to then reach into the hat, make sure it's not like a big ball or gathered up at the top. Straighten it out a little bit. And then I'm going to pull them tighter. Again, don't pull it too tight because it will snap. I don't need all of this excess, so I'm going to cut and leave myself about, I don't know, 6-8 inches. And I'm just going to tie, pulling it, but not too tight, but I'm trying to gather this hole with the two ends. If you can't get it really tight by tying it, it's not a big deal. There are ways you can pull it tighter. But if you pull it too tight now, you'll risk snapping the yarn. So I do about 3 knots to secure it. If I still have too much of an opening there, which in this case I have a little bit of larger than I'd like, I'm just going to take one of the ends and my darning needle and let me open this up a little bit so you can see it better. Get this tail out of the way. Okay. I'm just going to gather the stitches going around the center opening. Try and, you know, I'll go through the one layer. Don't go down through 2 layers of the hat. And I'm just going to gather the stitches, go around one time. Again, try to make sure you're getting only the top layer of stitches. And then you just pull and it will tighten up as you go. I got a few more stitches. To get back to where I started from, this end point. And now I just tie it again. And that tightens up the hole. You don't want to completely tight because you do need to get a pom-pom in there. But that should be good. And then I'm going to, again, I don't need that much slack, so I'm going to cut a little bit more off of that. I'm going to take my crochet hook, feed it through the 2 layers of the hat, go up to the very center of the hat where those ends come out. Sorry, I'm going to move on this side. Again, only going through the 1 layer. Grabbing those 2 tails would help if I had, if I try this again, if I held on to them with the hook. So I'm grabbing onto the 2 layers and I'm going to pull them through. Did it again. There we go. And that tucks them away in between the 2 layers. And then I'm just going to cut it and the little tail falls into the middle. As you can see, you don't see the ends on the inside because they're between the two layers. So now I don't have a pom-pom here, but there's your finished hat. You would just fold up the brim. And I do have these tags with my company name on them, Goldie's Girl Gifts. And I use these Chicago screws with the little heart instead of rivets. These are pom-pom holders. So you would use this to secure a pom-pom. And the Chicago screws are used for securing these leather tags, which have my logo on them. So I just put it on the brim of the hat. I put the screw through the back side so it comes out the front. find the hole, and then I just screw the top part onto that. And it kind of brands my hat. And I just screw that on. If you bear with me just a moment, I will grab a pom-pom. So that's what the tag looks like when it's secured with my logo. And then if you put the brim down, you'd see the logo on the opposite side as well. Okay, so I think I'm going to use like a white pom-pom on this one. So bear with me for 1 second. I will grab one. And I use the pom-poms that, I'm just shaking it out, fluffing it up some. I use the pom-poms, they have this elastic loop on them. Sorry, I'm trying to get better with the camera angles. It has the elastic loop on them. So in order to put that on, I take my crochet hook and I come up through that center hole. I'm going to grab that elastic loop and I'm going to pull it through the hat with my hook. So I have the elastic loop here. Then I take my little pom-pom holder and I put it underneath that elastic loop, and it has little lips there to hold it in, and that keeps the pom-pom secure and it doesn't allow it to come off unless you want to take it off, and you can remove it to wash the pom-pom and then just easily put it back on. If you don't have a crochet hook, you can actually put them on with a bobby pin. You would just put the bobby pin through the hole, grab the elastic loop, and then pull it through. And then there is your finished hat with the design on it. It's branded, it's got the pom-pom, and it's good to go. If you can see it clearer, you can see the detail in the beard with all the silver color changes we did. And it really comes out looking nice and professional. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video and make this project with me. I do plan on doing many more in the future, so it's just a matter of timing. But I hope you will like and subscribe to my page, and so you'll be notified when I come out with the new videos. But thanks again for joining me. Until next time.